So hello hackers and welcome. I'd like to begin firstly by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet and work. I wish to pay respects to elders past and present and acknowledge the important role all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people continue to play within Australia and also our hacker and artist communities. So welcome to Art Hack, everyone, and thank you for joining me here today. I'm excited to be here and honoured to be able to play a part in empowering female creatives. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the creative and innovative projects that come out of this Art Hack this weekend and meeting some of the fabulous people here. I'm also super excited to be giving this workshop on some of my favourite new tech-enabled art intersections, such as augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D modelling and printing, and AI-enabled art, as well as collaborative art. So who am I though, firstly? I'm Ali. I work as a developer advocate at IBM. And as a developer advocate, what I do is work closely with clients and community to help developers learn about and leverage new technologies to solve problems and create innovative solutions to real-world issues. So I represent IBM at a lot of industry events like this, workshops, meetups, and conferences. And one of my favorite parts of my job is being able to be involved in hackathons and getting to meet and help mentor and support the next wave of future entrepreneurs and future innovators through these kind of uni and community events, including IBM's Call for Code, which is a Tech for Good event, which will be in its 4th year next year, which I got to be part of this year. And I have a project that I want to highlight here on the intersection of tech and art for that. But enough about that, though. I love my job, and as a woman in tech and business, I'm passionate about giving back and helping other women to find their own paths and to see that you have the choices and opportunities to thrive, and in whatever field that might be. So this is my way of helping to foster a supportive community based around lifting each other up. I actually studied at ANU when I first left school. I studied anthropology, some archaeology, some politics, and I loved philosophy as well. I didn't finish that. I since to uni finally and degrees in mechatronics engineering and computer science. And I also founded a startup with a business partner while I was at uni. And that was through a hackathon. So congratulations on being here, and who knows where it might take you. But the reason I'm telling you all of this is because when I got asked to give a talk for Art Hack, I almost said no. I'm not an artist. I don't draw or sing. I don't play an instrument. I don't even bake those awesome little cupcakes in my spare time that everyone seems to be able to make. In fact, this is my nailed it attempt that I did for my sister's birthday. Now, she is a baker. She is an amazing decorator. She makes some fabulous cakes, and that's artistic in itself. But my attempt was probably, well, I like it. But so while I love music and I'm a big fan of art, and I also consider myself to be quite creative, I wasn't sure what I actually had to say about art. But when I did stop to think about what really art was and the role of it in our society and started thinking about the intersection between art and tech, I changed my mind about giving this talk. Because to me, art is anything that evokes feelings, thoughts, or debate and involves creativity of thought or reflects the human experience in some way. Of a definition that I gave on innovation recently when I was talking at an Industry Nights event where I was speaking on the impact of innovative tech. Bear with me, I am getting to the art stuff. But while I was putting this innovation in tech presentation together, one of the biggest things that's kind of struck me was just how much creativity is involved in human breakthroughs and scientific endeavor, and just how innovative and adaptable we are as human beings. So to me, being creative is clearly one of the most remarkable human traits. And there's currently no computer or algorithm that can mimic that. Without creativity, for example, there'd be no poetry, there'd be no television or Netflix, there'd be no internet, music, and no space travel, just to name a few. And that's one of the things that I love most about technology as well, and also one of the big reasons that I went into the field, and that's its capability, the capability for technology to enable change in our daily lives and in society itself, and to change the way that society functions. So when I first started on this train of thought, about a million ideas came to me on the synergy between art and tech, and how tech is enabling all sorts of new frontiers in the art world, which is super. That is what I love about this one. For me, art and science go hand in hand, and creativity isn't just about novelty, but it's also about usefulness as well. So this is something I found on a Smithsonian article about, where would Impressionists have been without the invention of portable paint tubes that enabled them to paint outdoors? And who would have heard of Andy Warhol without a silk screen? So technology has really been providing artists with these new and novel ways for them to express themselves for a long time. And I want to talk about some of the new tech that is enabling this new tech frontier here today. So I really want to showcase some of the awesome ways tech is being used in art and innovation. And I'm also hoping that some of these ideas might help inspire your tech-enabled artistic endeavors now and in the future. So let's get to it. Here is just basically a brain dump of some of the tech-enabled artistic frontiers that I could think of off the top of my head when I was jotting down what I was going to put in this workshop, which, to be honest, could have used some probably UI help, maybe some more animations. A bit of art would have made this presentation really amazing. I didn't have the time for that, but I would have loved to do it. But anyway, so, 3D modeling and animation, I've mentioned that. There's a massive CGI uplifting. Gaming is another one. Virtual reality and augmented reality that is creating all these really cool kind of immersive and dynamic art things, and collaborative as well. So creating collaborative art through the use of the internet and open source tools. And I'm not just talking about Photoshop or Blender, which enables 3D modeling, or even Figma, which, if you haven't heard of that, and because I'm in tech, Figma is an online kind of Photoshop-like tool that helps you wireframe apps or websites that you might want to build. But it's also getting, there's also IoT art, there's wearables and augmented design. Machine learning is helping us be even more creative. So while a machine can't yet mimic our creative thinking, it can certainly enable us to ask new questions and to find new ways of doing things. There's obviously digital music creation as well, and the list goes on and on and on. So even Instagram and YouTube have options to help you, create great video content, which maybe I should have used. And then there was also another thought that popped to my mind was, the famous Banksy painting that self-destructed as soon as someone bought it for millions of dollars. I mean, that was tech enabling Banksy to make a statement. So this is really a new era for creativity. And the first thing, obviously, that I want to talk about is the internet. The rise of the internet has really enabled a lot of this collaboration. And I kind of mentioned it before, but from the days of MySpace, which some of you may or may not remember, but MySpace was big in the early 2000s, I think. And yes, and one of the best things about that was all the theming. But this kind of expression has really spawned a new era in UI. So nowadays, like user interface and user experience design are massively important fields in the tech world, and that's because of creative and artists and creatives are the ones that have designed that. They are the ones that are helping lead the way when it comes to our interface between technology and seeing the world. So really important role that artists play there. So the internet has also allowed e-commerce, reaching new audience, and cultural exchange. So, speaking of MySpace, so it was a social media platform, and it gave the ability to connect across the world. And it gave creators the ability to. The internet also gave creators the ability to reach new audiences. So things like WordPress as well, which is given, and Shopify, internet websites that people can put up in their own home. They've given everyone the power to create their own business. So they've given people the power to sell their own own art as well. And that's enabled a sharing of culture that was unprecedented before. And it also created an awareness of our similarities and a celebration of some of our differences. So internet, super powerful. I mean, again, the internet has been here in this kind of we've been stuck at home, and people have come up with some great ideas to help connect and collaborate still. And the internet has allowed us to do that, and open source technology platforms have allowed us to do that. It's enabled us to continue being creative. It's enabled us to keep in touch with people. So there's been all kinds of cool things this year, you know, virtual tours being offered of amazing museums that even if there wasn't COVID, I probably wouldn't make it to. So that was kind of cool. There's been a bunch of things popping up online. I saw a loving COVID video that someone had made with the dining table. That was, I mean, so people went to dinner separately on their own rooftops. I mean, there's been big concerts around the world of, you know, staying together at home concerts. And this has all facilitated this kind of artistic endeavor by technology, which is really kind of amazing to me. And so it's that collaborative art and open source software that is enabling that as well. So speaking of that kind of, collaboration, you know, I was even listening on Triple J the other day, and one of the artists was talking about he and his musical partner, who are in different countries at the moment, were collaborating on. They just played a newly released song, and they collaborated on that completely separately. I mean, back in the day, that would not have been able to happen. So, and it's also, you know, obviously talking about music here, it's also enabled that kind of digital rise where we are seeing more and more we can create digital music online. We've got DJs, and it's really enhancing our creativity there, because it's giving access to everyone, which is one of the exciting things about it. We get to see how creative the human spirit really is that way. So another project that I wanted to talk about as well is Quireless, which is a platform for bringing
I've got a 9-year-old daughter
people together. I'm just going to mute that and keep playing it. So it's a platform for bringing people together through song. And this was one of the finalists at that UN-backed Call for Code hackathon that I was talking about earlier, and that's running again next year. But that hackathon aims to tackle some of our most pressing problems and focused on climate change and the COVID response this year. And Quireless was one of the finalists. It was a musical collaboration platform. And, you know, the guy that made it initially, and he does say this in the video, sorry, but he made it because his daughter was unable to go and sing in her choir anymore. So, you know, he created an online platform to let her keep being creative, which is pretty cool. So I also, then there's Iot Art, which is another big one. Artistic expression using hardware, using electronics. This was something that wasn't around before, but the advent of kind of Arduino hardware has allowed it to kind of thrive. And this is actually, these are flowers that a friend of mine's boyfriend made. So it was super cute. So it was a birthday gift from him to her, and he's an engineer. So he made her this pot of flowers, and he's got instructables up online. So if you want to see that, I'm happy to send you the link. But, you know, he made her these flowers. This is, you know, an artistic love present, really. So how amazing is that? I love it. So IoT-enabled art is another big industry. I've also got a colleague I work with who made this kind of disco coffee table. And what happens is the lights kind of change color according to this. And this is almost a codeless backend. So it's a drag and drop interface, which means, you know, artists don't have to be scared of using technology in their art as well. There is so many kind of technology platforms that enable artists who aren't coders to use technology to create things as well. And I mean, this coffee table might be a simple example, but it's still pretty fun. So this kind of graphical user interface that he used as his backend for this, along with a hardware board called an ESP32, is called Node-RED, and that's open source as well. So yeah, you don't need to be able to code to use this in your art as well. There's also immersive art and gaming. So augmented reality and virtual reality are really opening up new platforms for artists. And I want to share another friend of mine that I know, one of his projects, which is called Equal Reality. And it's a virtual reality game that is, VR. It's aimed at showing you inclusion and equality, training people in these kind of skills. It aims to deliver this training by helping people overcome unconscious bias and allowing them to see the world from the point of view of another gender, race, or ability level. So this is really tech for good, and art and tech really working in collaboration here to create an amazing outcome. And VR and AR aren't just being used for kind of this kind of training as well. They're also being used to train pilots and astronauts, and, like this project, develop a deeper level of understanding in our community, which is pretty cool. Another cool one that I've seen is the City of Melbourne commissioned this 64 Ways of Being augmented reality app. So you can walk this app, which isn't out yet, but I'm excited for it to come out in October. This brings Melbourne's laneways, streets, parks and rivers to life with augmented reality. So you walk around with your phone and you Melbourne, or you can create a conversation with the city about its past, its present, and its future. So it's a really live, interactive encounter that's like intimate and participatory, I guess you'd say. Super excited to see how that comes out as well. So gaming art, another massive one. I guess we all know about gaming art. So gaming creativity has come a long way from the days of Pac-Man and Snake on your Nokia phone. And now to massively multiplayer online games, which have, like LOL or Dota, which has even spawned a whole industry of esports, which is pretty amazing. This is what creativity has done, created this whole industry, really. And tech is enabling that creativity in arts in ways it never kind of had before. There's also virtual worlds like The Sims and Second Life, and these are really whole worlds made by artists and are kind of hubs for creatives as well. There's some amazing graphic designer and 3D modeler and animators in these virtual worlds as well. There's even quantum gaming now. So I was reading an article the other day about an upcoming video game that's leveraged Quizkit, which is cloud quantum computing, basically. So you can have a look at quizkit.org and you can try it out yourself. So did you know you could use quantum computers on your own computer at home? So you can try out quantum computing, and this guy has created, a kind of rudimentary video game, but let's give him credit. Quantum gaming as a new industry could be a really interesting thing to watch. Another cool project, and this is based on artificial intelligence in art, I guess. And artificial intelligence and machine learning, as I've kind of mentioned, have a bunch of things that they can do that help foster creativity or help enhance creativity. So this is one of the ones that came up for me, a project that I saw recently as well. It was recently Qantas's 100th birthday celebration. What a year to have a 100th birthday, hey? But anyway, so what AI has done is brought some of these old images, old Qantas images, back to life in honor of kind of Qantas's birthday. And this is using an open source generative AI model to restore it with. So, and this is kind of a new thing because until recently, colorization of old images, and in particular video footage, was really laborious and time consuming and manual. And AI is enabling that to come to life in a really cool way. There's a couple more there as well. Really cool anyway. So this is some of the things that tech are enabling on the kind of frontiers. So one of the other things I kind of wanted to throw in, because I find it amusing and I really enjoy it. So I'm going to throw it in. is art and security. So did you know there is an encryption lab in California, and it's by Cloudflare, and this encryption lab encrypts like something like 70% of the internet, and it does that using the randomness of lava lamps. I mean, if that is not creative thinking at its core, I don't know what is. And that's kind of why I wanted to throw it in. So big thank you to everyone here. I want to say thank you to you for being involved. Thank you for being creatives. And hopefully I've given you some inspiration or some ideas on where to start on your artistic or your tech-enabled art projects. Obviously, there's no way I could have got to them all, but I am happy to talk all day about this subject. And I want to say thank you to you all for participating and to bringing your kind of unique perspective and ideas to this art hack. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of the projects that you guys present. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks, Art Hack.